sure do. $38 a night.
Okay, I warned you. One drip and you're out.
Oh, come on!
Out now.
It's gonna melt outside.
It's melting inside, too.
But Bobby...
Out.
Thank you very much.
You're not welcome! The man who lives in here gets arrested a lot. These are the rooms we're not supposed to go in. But let's go anyway. Could you give us some change, please? The doctor said we have asthma and we gotta eat ice cream right away.
Here you go.
Haley, we got a situation here. Open up.
It's only second week of the summer and there's already been a dead fish in the pool.
We're trying to get it back alive.
Water balloons thrown at tourists.
Boobies! Boobies!
I failed as a mother, Moonee.
Yeah, Mom, you're a disgrace.
New job?
Yeah.
If you're working, who's looking after Moonee?
You're not my father.
I don't want to be your
You
father.
can't treat me like this. You don't think everybody knows what's up, Halley? Everybody.
She's about to cry. I can always tell when adults are about to cry. Why is my mom yelling?
They're just talking. They got to figure something out.
See, I took you on a safari. Whoa. Let's go, come on.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to do the welcome back? I apologize.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I'm Kelly Bell, virtual. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm Katie Staressa, and we are watching Out Loud. And call the sheriff. He just touched my tit. We're talking about the Florida Project today.
Oh yeah, that was what Gloria says when Bobby tries to cover her up.
Yeah, that was fucking great.
Well, give us a like. That'd be really nice.
Like this video.
Comment,
Follow
subscribe, hit
all
the
the stuff.
bell. And then you can follow us on Instagram for updates. Trying to be better about updating on YouTube too.
Oh,
Hi,
on
Robbie.
YouTube, yeah.
Hi, Inflev. So as Katie.
I'm
Jesus
Katie.
Christ. As Katie mentioned, today we're covering the Florida Project 2017 film. I don't even think Inflev was born yet. Just kidding. He was.
Just a few years old.
He was just a wee lass. Directed by Sean Baker, starring Brooklyn Prince as Moonee, the lead character. Bria Venate. Oh my god, I already
We
forgot
looked it
how to
up
say
and
her
we
name.
lost it.
Whatever.
That's Haley.
That's Haley.
Don't matter.
Don't
Yeah,
matter.
that's Haley.
I haven't seen her in anything else. She could come at me.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And then we also have Willem Dafoe as Bobby Hicks, who just ate.
Great role.
Great role.
Well done.
Mela Murder as Ashley, which is a crazy. That sounds staged as hell. How is that your
It's a
real last name?
hard as hell name. Hard as hell.
Christopher Riviera as Scooty, Valerie Coda as Jancy, and Caleb Landry Jones as Jack Hicks, who's Bobby's son. Okay, I was trying to figure out the relationship. Was it the mom that he said a happy birthday to or something?
Yeah, it was.
That I didn't.
Yeah, it was super subtle. That that's the only bit that you get that's his son. So yeah.
Are we on a Sean Baker kick? I'm so bad about directors. I literally.
I know,
don't
me
give a
too.
hoot. What other films did this?
Yeah, what other movies did we do by
Nora.
Sean Baker? Oh, really? I forgot that was Sean Baker.
This should be Robbie's
not
podcast.
Yeah, Robbie, how about you hop on?
Why don't you log on?
He really keeps us on task,
Yeah, he
or
does.
tries to, I guess.
Yeah. It's like wrangling cats, though.
Yeah, we'll give a little rundown. What? What happened?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
What's happening?
Oh, I think I'm quiet.
Kelly is
Oh.
quiet. Sorry.
This big scary
I was
man.
never here.
Okay.
Jesus.
Just ignore
Startled both of us, and he's our intern. We're used to him, but that was startling.
Just ignore him.
That never happened.
That literally
Okay. Set primarily amongst the vibrant backdrop of the Purple Magic Castle Inn and Suites near Walt Disney World in Kissimmee, Florida, the film is constantly humming with the noise of communal living and helicopters, which is it was a jump scare. Sorry, in Blood, it was a jump scare.
Yeah, I actually, the helicopters were kind of like distracting at a certain point. I was like, damn, get these helicopters, shut up!
You're like, we get it, the helicopter.
It's like living in South Sac again.
Triggering. We primarily see from the perspective of the 6-year-old Moonee and her two best friends, Scooty and Jancy, which we were just talking before. We were talking during the trailer about how those names are very clearly like names picked by children having children.
Yeah, well, Jancy's mom was 15 when she had her.
15.
Yeah, we got confirmation of that from the grandma.
Yeah. So it's the three best friends and some other kids from time to time as they navigate the summer living in a budget motel during tourist season. Because they're right by Disney World. Have you ever been to Disney World?
No.
Were you ever a Disneyland person?
I mean, yeah, when I was 7, Disneyland was very peak.
Disneyland peak when you were 7.
That Universal Studios opened the Jurassic Park ride was the first time I went.
You seem like more of a Universal Studios person.
I was, and we luckily got like a hopper pass so we could go from Disneyland to Universal Studios. And Universal Studios is just like overall better, I would say, because the last time I went there too. I think when I was like 27, and it was it was better. But the Jurassic Park ride when it first came out, holy shit, that was a dope ride.
Yeah, that was pretty serious.
Yeah. What about you?
Some serious business. I did Disneyland and Universal Studios. Disneyland was, I think, the bigger one for us because then we like lived in LA for a time, and we went. It was me, my mom, my brother, and my brother's friend when I was like 14. So going as like a bunch of teenagers was really fun.
Yeah.
And then like my mom is like always down to clown with her kids kind of thing. So that was like probably the best. That was some peak Disneyland.
Poor Flip went when they were literally a toddler, so they didn't get to
you don't even remember that.
Yeah. And
So like
probably
around
doesn't
20.
remember anything before 16.
Maybe we could all just go to Disneyland.
Yeah, together. I don't know.
Let's do it.
I'm so not a Disney adult. I feel like I would get so irritated. Like, RIP to my future children because we're never going to Disneyland.
Oh my God. No, okay. We can take our kids with George because George and I went for like our first year anniversary back in what was that? 2017. And he would get so irritated by people just like not knowing where they're going as they're walking because they're always looking at the rides and shit. So then George would lead us and he would just clap and people would just like turn away from the clap. And he literally like guide us through the park like really fast by doing that. So we'll just have George be like our Sherpa through
Watching
Disneyland.
Out Loud con at Disneyland. I kind of, you know what? I'm gonna go more hillbilly, and I'm gonna be like watching out loud at like a local fucking fair
at the fairy tale land or something.
That's the con that we're going to.
That'd be pretty fucking cool though. And watching Out Loud con would be fun.
Yeah, we'll set that in.
Yeah,
we'll get a booth and everything, and see people show up.
Just pop up a booth, and it'll be just like at some sort of like flea market. So we'll see what that has. The live panel is. It's us. It's literally the 5 of us that are in this chat and this podcast right now. We could just go get coffee.
Yeah, save a buck.
Save a
But the
buck.
influx needs to experience Disneyland.
That's true. We will take Influb to Disneyland. That will be Watching Out Loud Con 2025. 2020. Let's do 2028. We got to save up for Disneyland.
Yeah, true. I got some things coming up.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
going to Scotland. I'm going to Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know
Okay.
who I'm kidding. I think pretty much everyone knows what's up at this point because someone's got a big mouth.
Someone that likes to run into rooms unannounced and scare the shit out of us. Anyway, where are we? So, yes, Moonee and her friends cause a bit of trouble to occupy their time while Scooty's mom works, and Moonee's mom, Halley, supervises them while more or less is between jobs. We kind of pieced together that she was formerly a stripper, but is now looking for work while trying to sell like perfumes that she gets from a wholesaler to tourists.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like something that we were kind of talking about was like Halley. I think Halley could be very much seen as like deadbeat because she does like, we see her smoking weed a lot. We see her getting in fights and arguments. She's not really keeping the kids out of trouble, stuff like that. But when Halley and Ashley go out for one night, like at the beginning of the film, Ashley tells her like, you know, like, oh, she didn't get the manager's promotion, so she can't get her the job at the restaurant. So you see Halley is like really disappointed. She really is like wanting to make money and stuff to provide and everything.
And she goes to like a temp agency too or something.
Oh, is that what it was? A temp agency? I didn't know if it was
so.
temp or like a unemployment office or something like that. It
was some sort of agency where, you know, it's kind of like she's like, I'm trying to find work, but, you know, like, I'm just in a bad situation. Honestly, loaded question. I think it actually made me feel a little bit better about being a mom because I was like, oh, I'm so much more prepared for a child than these people are. And, like, luckily my kid will never have to live in like a low budget motel and stuff, and like I know myself well enough that I'll be way more of a attentive parent, but I'm also not like a teen mom that's like struggling. I have like a career, I make good money,
and I think sometimes like watching things like this makes me want to be a mom to like a kid that it's like, I guess it more makes me want to adopt, like, if anything, to like help that situation.
Message of the movie.
It's okay to be bad at being a mom.
I don't think it's quite that. I think the message for me that I get out of it is that A, being a parent is very complicated, and B, that most of the circumstances are a result of poverty, trauma, and likely mental illness, because there is no question Halley is mentally ill. Like, there, you know, she's
BPD likely,
BPD, at the very least. And you know, I think that you do get these moments of Halley really thriving as a mom and being a really good mom, but it's but also, one of my arguments is that, you know, it's really easy to say Halley's a bad mom. Like, it's very easy to say that. But we also have, you know, where's Moonee's dad?
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the luxury of being a man, is that if you don't want a child and you don't want the responsibility, you can walk away. Whereas for Halley, being pregnant and choosing to go through with it, she doesn't really get that privilege. She ultimately does have to take care of her and Halley, and that is why she does everything she does. That's why she hustles perfumes and ends up doing the other work that she ends up doing. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I think that like this movie is really, it reminds me a lot of, I took like a script writing class or screenwriting class in the college, and the professor said like,
like Christopher?
Like Christopher, yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly like Christopher. So he said that really good scripts show, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie is like such a masterclass at showing things
Yeah.
and like not only just like showing things that are happening, but showing then people's reactions to it rather than like you see it in like the way they're watching it. Like you see Moonee and Jancy observe things. And you see that they are processing and learning things that like children should not be learning. And same with even Halley. Like you see her in her face, like her emotional reaction to whatever is happening. The like I would guess like just like sadness and like defeat before she reacts in anger. You
Mm-hmm.
usually see it before you then hear that big like angry reaction.
Yeah.
And it does also just feel like the movie is like rather than being necessarily one big plot, it feels like it's like almost like vignettes of these people's lives,
Yeah.
primarily the children, but then you get like little bits of Haley's life as well. And it really is like about growing up not only for the children but for the mothers as well. Like Ashley making the choice, you know, whether it was like the right choice or not, making the choice to keep Scooty from Moonee after the fire, is like her kind of like choosing to set boundaries, cut people out to protect her child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think similar, like we see Halley she does start to make choices to try to like make a better situation for Moonee. It might be like too late, but it's still like you see kind of like that, maybe not growth, but that like want to grow,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the first time I watched the movie, I was like, this mom just like Halley just like really gave me so much anxiety, really. But then like watching it the second time, I was like, it's such a heartbreaking story for Moonee, but it's also like just about as heartbreaking for Halley
I
as
think
well.
like everyone loses in this movie, unfortunately. Like as far as Halley and Moonee, and I mean like none. I mean, the sad reality is it's not only Halley that's like a negligent parent. You know.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. It's like Ashley entrusts Halley to watch Scooty all day, but it's like she doesn't seem to really be concerned about. I mean, this is her friend, and she knows what Halley is like, and she's still allowing her to watch her kid every day. And you know, it was Scooty's lighter, which you know, I feel like if Ashley was being very cautious, she would have been able to find a lighter on like a 6-year-old boy. And then the other little boy that they were hanging out with in the beginning of the film, I forgot his name, but it's, you know, it's like
Dickie.
Yeah. And then the scene with the pedophile, there's like 20 kids unsupervised playing around on these benches. And really the only supervision these kids do have is Bobby. So yeah, it's really easy to say Halley's a bad parent because that's the parent, because it's mostly Moonee's point of view and like perspective. And so of course it's going to revolve around her mom. But
yes,
you know, Jancy's mom or grandmother, her mom's not even in the picture, and her grandmother doesn't even know this girl, and she's like, "Yeah, go run around all day walking." It's just great. I mean, it's a little different because like being a younger kid before like cell phones and stuff, like it wasn't uncommon for kids to just like walk around all day unsupervised. Like that really isn't uncommon when I was a kid, but now that's crazy. That's like you shouldn't do that. So I don't know. It's really hard. I think it's really easy to pass judgment and like, yeah, should Halley have had a kid? Probably not, but she has one. So she's got to make do with the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, you had the good point of like the only one that's really like keeping an eye on them is Bobby, the motel manager. But I mean, in the context of like he is able to keep an eye on them as long as they are on the motel grounds, basically. Like once the kids leave the grounds, they really are like left to their own devices, and they kind of just like harass
asbestos.
people. Yeah, dance in asbestos called ghost poopies. And
I was like, oh my
and
god.
oh my gosh, that sucks. But yeah, I think that I just remember like just we were talking about this before too about Willem Dafoe's portrayal of Bobby was like it's probably like my best Willem Dafoe role I've seen. Like I think it's just so simply wonderful. And then I remember like when I first watched this movie, it was like a movie we watched during the pandemic when it was like, we got to find more content to watch to kill time. And so then like we didn't really like know what the movie was about going into it. And so then when the like scene of Bobby confronting the old man that was like clearly a fucking pedophile happens, I just remember that scene just really stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it was really like kind of a turning point, I think, for the film, where like because you see at the end of that sequence it cuts to Moonee and Jancy removed from all the other children watching this happen, and clearly like with kind of a like an unsettled look, I would say.
Yeah, I agree because it's like you can't say that they understand totally what's happening, but to some degree they have more awareness than the other kids that something like Bobby's upset that this man tried to approach them for whatever reason. And yeah, like living in a motel, it's a low income young parent thing. I don't think that's totally uncommon. My parents, Inflo's parents were really young. They were like teen parents, but when we were little, we moved to apartments a few times, and I have very positive memories of kind of just like running around in my apartment complex with other kids, unsupervised, buying sodas out of vending machines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because for a kid, luckily they don't have to like really deal with real world problems, and that's why the ending of this movie is so hard, is because suddenly Moonee is smacked with like a reality that is really scary, and she kind of has to deal with stuff that's way beyond her like emotional intelligence and age. No 6-year-old can comprehend what's happening.
No,
for her,
no.
life's good.
And
her mom and her hang out. They watch TV. They eat waffles all the time. Whatever.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
When you put it that way. And I think too, like at the end of the film when the social worker comes, she says to her like, "Oh, we're just gonna go for go to a place for a little bit, and you can come back to your friends and all that sort of stuff." Like, and what she says, like you can bring like your toys, or like there will be toys and stuff like that. She like really sells it, makes it sound great. And then was it Scooty? Scooty says, "My mom says you're gonna go live with another family," so it like breaks the illusion that the social worker is trying to create for her. And I think like that specifically, like one, seeing Moonee react first in like anger was very interesting, because like this was a time when she's really looking like Halley.
Yeah.
That like anger comes from a point of real fear. And I think that like that was like so hard to watch, like her like you're a liar and all that sort of stuff, like especially now there's this adult that is supposed to now be responsible for you, taking you from your mother and caught in a lie. Is like how could you trust this at all, you know? Like, and so then it really does go into like kind of a survival mode of trying to like keep things from changing, I guess.
That's what this whole movie is survival. Like,
yes, yeah,
different
absolutely.
levels of it for sure. And we kind of jumped ahead a little bit to the end, and that was my mistake. But I mean, because so much leads up to the why of why, what is it, DHS is finally called on Halley.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, DCF, was it? You said DHS, Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, the Department of I'm so stupid. I'm sorry.
No, you had a long day.
Yeah, I'm
Just
sorry.
funny.
The
You're
Department
good.
of Homeland Security came to make me away.
Yeah, because they really thought Haley was a bad mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, what got us there, I guess, was that so after the condos, Moonee and Scooty and saying the name Scooty in particular feels dumb. Like Moonee and Jancy are cute, but
It feels
Scooty
like his
feels
name should be Scott and it's a joke. But
yeah,
his name
yeah.
is Scooty. And it's like
It is Scooty.
you're thinking of a dog scooting his ass, and that's what you name your kid after. Like, okay,
That's what it
Ashley,
is.
whatever,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the three of them destroy a condo, set it on fire, and Scooty tells his mom about it, and that's when Ashley basically cuts out Haley and Moonee. And you had a really good point before we started recording about like, yes, Haley should be better at supervising, but the right thing to do is to like have a conversation parent to parent rather than like telling the child, I'm not giving you free food, I don't want you around my son, like, and now it's like the child having to report to the mom that something's wrong especially when they were friends.
Yeah, for poor Moonee, that's like her best friend in the beginning of the film. And her and Scooty do everything together, and then it's like and she has this routine of going to get waffles, and which is why I have a little struggle with Ashley being like so shocked that something happened, because I'm like, she knows that Scooty and Moonee go and get waffles alone all the time, so she is fully aware that her kid is walking around unsupervised.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And so for a kid, like, I just try to put myself in like a little kid's shoes and how like confusing that must have been for Moonee to be like, why can't I be with my friend? Like, she doesn't. I know she knows what she did was wrong, and you can see that when they're like watching the fire, like the burn, Haley and Moonee. And she's kind of like not excited, and she's like taking pictures of her, and she looks like kind of stoic because she knows she did something wrong. But it's like she's also 6, so like
it is interesting that like Haley doesn't recognize that something's wrong in Moonee, whereas Scooty reacting how he did of like not wanting to go is what alerted Ashley to like something, like my kid is involved in this basically. And so I do think that is one of those things for Haley that like she does seem to do a bit of like ignoring things, pretending that things aren't happening, and kind of like choosing to kind of like almost like live in this fantasy of like, oh, we can have fun every day, like we can, and then that's kind of the issue in a lot of ways, is that like not taking real responsibility for the consequences of not only like actions but inaction.
Well, yeah, and that brought other alarms. Sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
No, you go.
It made
I'm
me
done.
think too, like, I hate to say it, but like Haley being a single mom to a little girl and like constant lack of supervision. There is like a part of me. There's definitely like a part of me while watching this film that's like, if Haley continues on this path of being the kind of parent she is, at the very least, Moonee is going to end up as a teen mom too. At the very least.
Yeah.
On a more like awful level, Moonee will probably get sexually assaulted, and the fact that she hasn't been, as far as you can tell at this point in the movie, is kind of surprising. And you could see Haley's character unfortunately kind of ignoring it, because she is ignoring when Moonee is basically like clearly not herself. Because she's a pretty consistent, like, emotion-wise as a kid. She's a little bit rowdy, a little bit rambunctious, but, like, overall, like, happy. And then in that scene in particular, she's very clearly not, like you said. Like, very clearly uncomfortable. So it just makes you wonder, like, if Haley got some really crappy boyfriend at some point, and something happened, like, would she pay attention to the signs?
Yeah, that's a good point. And And I think that is the thing of this kind of being a really fucked up coming of age movie, is that Moonee is being forced to grow up faster than she should have to.
Mhm.
And Halley is being forced to grow up against her will later than she should be.
Yeah.
A hard watch, but it's a good watch.
Yeah.
But yes, so at this point, Ashley has cut Moonee and Halley out, which gets rid of like a source of meals that they had. And it seems that Ashley also like spotted them rent money when needed. Ashley was a link to get a job in the like eventually. And so Halley at this point does resort to sex work for income. And like we kind of mentioned, like there's nothing inherently wrong with that. The thing is that she no longer has a community that she can like have watch her daughter when she is working.
Yeah,
and so
I always wondered why she didn't ask
Jancy's grandma.
Because like clearly she liked Halley and Moonee like well enough, and to a point where she like let them stay over one night. So I always like wondered, did Halley choose to keep Moonee in the bathroom because she was worried about people asking questions like, why are you working so late? What are you doing? Because, you know, it's like being a stripper, that's kind of whatever. Like, I think most people wouldn't judge a young mom for that. Like, you know, you got to make a living. And like you said, I don't really judge sex work either, other than the fact that it's like incredibly dangerous. But she's making the decision to keep Moonee in the room while she's doing that. And that is really like, for me, the point where I have to say Halley is like a straight up negligent parent. This is not okay. It is so
absolutely
dangerous. And we see it get to a head when someone tries to use the bathroom and Moonee is very visibly uncomfortable. And she's
absolutely.
like, tells her to close the curtain, but it's like Moonee she's 6 years old and this strange man's in her room with her mom and she can't comprehend why.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, like, I did think it was interesting that at that point, when the man walks in, he's like, you have a kid in here? Like, he's clearly judging her. So, like, fuck that guy for real. Do you think it was
the bracelet guy? Because I think it was the
bracelet guy.
It was,
yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought
because Moonee asked Halley, did he need to use our bathroom again? So it was confirmed that guy. So
I thought it was him.
Yeah.
Which, why the fuck are you bringing your, like, jumper passes to go get a blowjob from some fucking girl on Craigslist? What the fuck are you doing, dude? Also, you're on vacation with your family.
I know. Save it for a business trip.
Seriously?
Anyway. I think also the reason why Halley probably did not have Jancy's grandmother watch, it, like, definitely in addition to what you were saying, is, like, to not alert other people to it. But I think also, like, it seems like Halley was relatively on call. Like her and Moonee were hanging out, and then she's like gets a call, and she's like, Moonee, get ready for your bath. You know, so
that's true. It was very like spur of the moment.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as sex work goes, even more like let's have a schedule. Let's have a routine if we can.
The reality of poverty is that it leads to crime. Yeah. Sex work is technically speaking a crime. Doesn't mean I agree with that, but it is what it is. And, it's people commit crimes out of desperation. That was her last kind of ditch effort. She couldn't find a regular job. Selling perfumes was becoming a problem. And she said she could not get arrested again. So it's very clear she has a track record. And so for her, she must have thought this was literally my only option at this point. I have no one to ask for money. And she was trying to still find other ways to make money. Granted, she was conning people by like stealing stuff, but also I don't feel bad at all for that man. So
no,
whatever.
Fuck that guy.
But it's I think it's, again, and I probably have already said this, I think it's really easy to pass judgment on the situation, but it's also like I'm in a privileged position where I don't think I'd ever be in that situation. So I try to look at the whole picture, and like at the end of the day I see a desperate mom trying to make the best of her situation. Is she doing everything right? No. By no means.
Yes, yeah.
But
And
it's survival.
that's kind of, yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I was saying earlier to you, was like, in an ideal scenario, like this is absolutely a situation that Moonee had to get out of.
Oh yeah.
But Halley ideally could also then get her shit together to then get Moonee back, and then they can be together and have the life that they both deserve and stuff. So because there is clearly like so much love that Halley has for her daughter, like, and when you really like, I was kind of thinking about this like idea of like the negligence part of things, but then also like I would say it seems like 80% of her life at least still does revolve around Moonee though, because she like does entertain the children. She does like take them places, like when she works, like all of the money goes to giving Moonee a fun time, basically. It's like, is she giving Moonee the attention that Moonee needs? No, but she is giving Moonee a lot of attention because she loves her so much. And again, just falls back to like this babies having babies situation.
Support system too, to boot.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes a community to raise a kid most of the time.
Absolutely. And I think it's something that I noticed with this watch, because saying that like Bobby clearly is like the main one keeping an eye on these kids. We find that the young guy that keeps helping him do like maintenance around the motel, we kind of infer toward the end of the movie is his son.
Yeah, and they have a strange relationship.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that like Bobby's upset that his son told his mom that he said happy birthday or whatever, and it turns into this big old thing, and like that's when his son says like, I don't come out here because I need the money, like, and it's clearly like, I come out here like for you. And now it's like a wedge now has been grown even further between them. He's not going to come out anymore. And then it makes you think like, Bobby shows up for these kids at the motel. Did he show up for his son in that same way? Probably not. Like just based on like the dynamic of like how they are as adults. And so I think it's that the ease of like hindsight's 2020. I imagine like Bobby probably has a lot of sympathy for like he goes out of his way for the residents and like Halley and Moonee.
Oh, he clearly cares about them.
Yeah,
like, when he
exactly.
kind of catches on that Halley's doing sex work, you can see there's like concern going on.
Yeah.
And I mean,
absolutely.
He sticks up for her when that man comes back for the passes. He's kind of like...
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely like, it seems like he has this like extreme empathy, from what I would kind of infer is like shared lived experience, probably. Which I think like, again, on first watch, it's so easy to be like, these are bad moms, Bobby's a good guy, like all this sort of stuff. And it's like being able to like observe the situation from like Bobby's perspective of empathy, I think is kind of the like the goal of the film a little bit. Because yeah, I think just upon like a second watch, like you're seeing more the nuances of Halley's of the actress's performance that plays Halley, rather than just like those explosive fuck yous and slamming a used pad on a window, which was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Girl, that was a hard one. That was a crazy one. That one was rough.
But again, hence set the untreated mental illness that's going on, which has likely been a part of her life, her whole life. Like, I don't know. I try not, they don't give you anything about Haley's like upbringing, but you can kind of infer a lot by the situation she's in now.
And the fact that she's raising Moonee, not Moonee's grandmother, like Jancy's grandmother. So it's only when Haley assaults Ashley that
she
DCF
really
assaults Ashley.
But that was
DCF
because she called her out for the post, and you can see that Haley got embarrassed. It was like a reaction of embarrassment.
Yeah, definitely. And again, one of those things of like trying to like observe, when you observe Haley's like facial reactions before the like anger comes out, you really see like where the basis of that anger is coming from, and it's never really anger.
It's hurt normally.
Yeah, exactly. And so Haley has Moonee help her clean the room and seems to be making like a concerted effort for the impending inspection.
She gave away all her weed.
She gave away all her weed, which honestly probably didn't help with the anger issues. And then I thought it was really sweet that the morning of the inspection, Haley took Moonee to a fancier hotel for an all-you-can-eat complimentary breakfast, and so that she could eat whatever she wanted, and because that girl loved her breakfast foods. And it kind of seemed like in that scene that Haley knew that Moonee was going to be taken away.
Oh yeah, she definitely did. Yeah, there was like heartbreak in that scene for sure.
Yeah,
but also I think like a certain level of like acceptance too, a little bit. Like, it was inevitable, and I mean,
definitely.
Maybe I feel like to a degree Haley had to know that eventually like this couldn't continue this way, especially like once the man walked into the bathroom. There had to have been a certain level of like, I mean, and like her like Scooty's mom said, Ashley, everyone knew in the hotel or in the motel what was happening, because she had very distinguishable tattoos, so you could very visibly see whose body it was, even if her face was out of the photo. Yeah, exactly. So back at the motel, DCF is there, and they're getting ready to take Moonee, and Haley's being like really chill packing Moonee's shit. It's only when Moonee starts reacting to the lie of being taken away that when Moonee starts freaking out, and then DCF asks Haley like, can you please come like help calm her down? Which I kind of like, I get where Haley's coming from of like, I'm not gonna help you take my kid, but then at the same time I'm like, hey, but your kid like is freaking out and needs her mom. No, exactly. And that's where that real immaturity in Haley is like really coming out, like, because the thing is like that whole scene's really tough, because first of all they're like the child protective people. Why do they call them something different there?
I don't know. I thought it was weird. CPS, it's Florida Department of Children and Families. Just call it CPS.
Just call it CPS. Make my life easier. They're telling Moonee, oh, you're such a big girl. Like, they're kind of like...
They even said, you're such a big girl. Did you know that? And she's like, no.
And I just think that's really weird language to use in a situation that's clearly, like, traumatic for a child, and I'm sure that's like how they're trained, but I wonder, it's like, do they ever go back and ask these kids like, how did this make you feel and stuff like that? Because it's like, I feel like okay, like I can lore drop a little bit. Like, I had CPS called on my family when I was like a kid, and it there was no reason. It was like a misunderstanding. But, as a little kid, it's, like, really weird. These people come to your house and they start asking your parents a bunch of questions and you don't understand why. And I was, like, around the same age as Moonee. And It never escalated because there was no reason for them to be called. But, I mean, my parents did have really bad yelling fights, but it was never, like, anything like that. And, you know, even as a kid, just that one little conversation, it always stood out to me because I was like, why are these people here? Why are they asking my parents these questions? You know, why are they making sure that, like, we have food and stuff like that? And so the whole thing, even for a kid that had a relatively good upbringing, it's like, it's jarring. So now you have the situation where they're separating you from your mother and they're like, you're a big girl and you're going to go to this place for a little bit and it's going to be really great. And it's like, although Moonee's only 6 and it probably seems like the right thing to kind of like sugarcoat everything, at the same time, something incredibly traumatic is happening. And I feel like, as you said, like lying to her is not going to make the situation worse or better. That's going to make it worse because it's going to automatically make her distrustful of you. And the fact that Scooty's the one that told her you're going to go live with someone, wouldn't it make more sense for them to explain that to Moonee? Like from the jump?
Yeah, exactly. And I think also like it's kind of this method of like kind of using gaslighting of children and then also assuming that kids don't understand as much as they do. And that's something that we see throughout the film is that Moonee clocks a lot of things that are happening. Of course she's still young, so she doesn't totally comprehend everything, but she definitely gets like something doesn't feel right. Something isn't right about this situation. Like and I think that that's another thing of like, you know, it's such like a hot button word nowadays is the parentification. And there definitely is like moments of that for Moonee, but it's kind of like would feel like there should be training of like these kids have been exposed to more than children should have to be exposed to. So they likely do have an intelligence and awareness of things beyond what you would expect of children. And that's a good point about social workers and CPS. Sounds like they're talking with a script because I'm sure they largely are, I imagine. But it just sounds like first like the system, like foster system, all that sort of stuff is like so fucked up.
Yeah, and that's why it's really hard. Is Moonee better off within the foster system than with her mom? I would only say yes because of what her mom's doing is pulling tricks in the motel room with Moonee. But if she was just pulling tricks and Moonee was separate from that, I would honestly argue no. She's fed, she has a place to sleep every night, and her mom cares for her.
I agree.
Because CPS, those kids in foster care constantly end up sexually abused and stuff like that. It's a freaking mess. There's people that have taken in foster kids and literally killed them. It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
Because once they're in the system, it's kind of like beyond the social worker's control where they go and stuff. And it's like, I don't really think they do like extensive background checks in the same capacity that they do for like adoption. Like adoption's really hard, but fostering a kid is quite easy. Yeah,
definitely.
And I sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of incentives for people to foster. And that's not at all to say that everyone that's a foster parent is bad. No. It's just that like there's not enough oversight on it for it to actually be protective of children across the board, which is like should be the utmost priority. Not just getting the child out of one situation to put them in another, but to know that the situation you are putting them in is going to be a better situation. And not only just like a better situation, but like more or less the best situation. Like if someone is being responsible for children, especially like being paid to take care of children that are being taken out of traumatic situations, they should be like the best of people. Like there should be a standard set.
Child rearing in general is a complicated subject matter, like regardless of all this other nuanced stuff, because Robbie's over here with like 17 foster kids, just telling them to shut up and watch some weird movie with him in his studio apartment. But it gets into like eugenics territory almost, because it's like should Haley have a kid? It's like arguably no, because she doesn't have the resources and appropriate lifestyle to do so. But then that becomes a very problematic topic, because does that mean only the affluent people should be having kids? Because no, they're freaks in nature too, and just because you have money doesn't mean you're a good parent. And so it becomes a very complicated thing, which, you know, I heard it a lot growing up, because like my parents were always like, don't get pregnant, don't get pregnant, don't get pregnant, don't get pregnant. Like that was just like drilled into me like a hammer, because my mom felt like she had kids too young, and it impacted her life, I think, in a way that she was not happy with. And it is because having a child should radically change your life, and and although Haley is trying to do what she can for her child, she has her own mental health issues that are unchecked. And so that's just another hurdle on top of poverty, making it almost impossible to raise a child successfully. And then
sorry, go ahead.
I'm
sorry. But I think also, like, going into this like point of poverty is that, like, if we keep going back of like, this is an issue that needs to be fixed, this is a systemic issue that needs to be fixed, like, really at the crux of it all is poverty. Because like, specifically of where this scene is set, they live right next to Disney World, can't afford to not be living in a motel, and then on top of that, it's like the only access that the residents around Disney World have to Disney World is by like watching fireworks from afar or sneaking in or whatever. Like, we only really see Disney World at the end of the film when Jancy and Moonee run into the park, and we don't even know if that actually happened, because it's such like a surrealist moment that it could just be Moonee's fantasy trauma response. Like, and so it's just like this idea of like building up a big like capitalist hub, being Disney World, and then everything in that city is centered around that and catered to that, that then the population around gets completely neglected. And that's such a just like common thing in America.
Oh no, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, 18 is definitely too young to be having a kid. I'm just gonna say it. Like, you're still a child yourself, your brain's totally still developing, and just because you're a legal adult does not mean you're actually an adult. Just because you're a legal adult by the law does not mean you're actually an adult. I'm sorry. I stand by that.
No.
And so, yeah, of course they weren't prepared. But you could also argue no one's ever fully prepared for a child, even
but your brain could be fully developed.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Having a child is a scary thing, because at the end of the day, if you care at all, you're always thinking, how am I going to fuck this kid up?
Yeah.
What am I going to do wrong to not be a good parent? And maybe that's just my anxiety. I don't know. So
you're like, that's what a good parent should be doing. A good parent should be constantly scared about fucking up their child.
Well, because, you know, I always think of like my own upbringing, and I think that's kind of how, you know, it's like they say it's a cycle, you're like your parents, and I don't think that's necessarily true. But, you know, you think about your own upbringing, and I know my parents have said to me on several occasions whenever I talk about my traumas, they're like, well, we did the best we could. And I'm like, but did ya? Because I would argue otherwise. But I also recognize my mom was 23 years old when she had me. And if I would have had a child at 23, which I wouldn't have, I would have aborted it. You know, I probably, it would be really hard. And then I would have like a teenager right now, and that would be fucking crazy. That'd be crazy. That was crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I don't even want to think about that.
That's so crazy.
So
pass.
Yeah. I mean, I think you probably shouldn't have a child before you're 27.
Yeah, if watching out loud can give any life advice, it's don't get married or have kids before your brain is fully developed.
That's the advice of the pod.
Yeah. Of the pod.
I also agree with Robbie. I like the flip to digital in the final scene, because it does make it more like feel like a fantasy. Because like we talked about this via text, but like I, for some reason, interpreted it that, like, Moonee got hit by a car and this was, like, her, like, dying, basically.
Yeah, you said that to me, and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Well, because the scene is so like fucked up and upsetting, and you see Moonee kind of take off, and it's the first time you see Moonee cry is when she's like begging Jancy to come with her. Which, like,
she even says like she was like sobbing, saying, "I can't even say it. Bye."
Yeah.
Like she couldn't, like she was crying over the word "bye" and saying like, "You're my best friend." Like.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh my god, it really fucked me up. But I think also like the flip to digital for the final scene also felt kind of like a home movie in a way too.
Yeah.
That like it reminded me of like my dad taking film of us like going to zoos, going to Disneyland, like doing stuff like that. And so it really felt like that was the one point in the film where it looked like they had some semblance of a childhood that feels familiar to everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like a familiar childhood experience where you're running around in an amusement park or whatever, having fun.
Exactly. And then it's like the song that's playing is an orchestral version of Celebration by Kool and the Gang. And that played at the beginning of the film. And then when the credits start rolling and it cuts to black, like it's no sound at all. And it's such a loud silence because that's when when I really realized like we've been hearing like traffic, helicopters, communal living the whole time, and like music throughout the film aside from I think the first song for the opening credits with Celebration and then the last song are the only like film music that was used. What is it, like the non-diegetic, whereas like the rest all other music in the film was diegetic, like in the action happening. And so I think that it just kind of like was such a stark like cut, I think, that it really kind of leaves you absolutely gutted.
Yeah, it's a tough movie. A couple scenes made me cry. For different reasons. Lots of crying. But especially the ending. It's like even Steven just came in just for the ending and I love crying. But it's hard not to because, it is such a traumatic thing and all you can think about is like Moonee's not like the perfectly behaved child for obvious reasons, but she deserves to be a child.
Yeah, she's just a child. Yeah.
And that's what's really sad is so many kids in America don't get to be kids because of like poverty and stuff. And the thing is like this is one of the richest countries in the world. So we could do something about that. And yet we let this continue because we want a certain amount of people incarcerated in our country. We want a certain people living in poverty and desperate. It's the capitalist like I don't know, wheelhouse that functions that way, and it's really fucked up. I took childhood education. My minor was in early childhood education, and they want 1/3 of American kids to end up in prison. 1/3.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the public school system is really made to create like kind of just churn people out, not to create like thinkers and people that can really like live life, like not just like succeed in life, but to live life effectively. Like we aren't taught that in public schools.
No, public school is literally training kids to either be in the workforce or go to jail.
Yep.
And it isn't teaching because individualism and creativity and all those things are intended for rich people.
Yeah,
college
which
really
they kind of teach you in college. Yeah,
rich people too, because if you don't have money, you end up with debt.
Yep.
That's the American dream. Die in debt. My credit score went up because I got more debt, so
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. It's like I paid off a little bit of credit card debt, put more on the credit card.
Had to get a new car.
That's the American way of life.
And
so
die in debt.
not a very fun episode.
This is the end of our,
watching
like,
it.
I don't even know what to call it, like, sad girl series.
Yeah, sad girl series. I think my camera just got blurry.
Saw
Hold on
that
one
too.
second.
So we started with Perfect
Oops.
Blue, kind of, which was a fun one. I feel like, but it still had a lot of heavy subject matter. And then we moved to Honora, that was darker. And then we went to Florida Project, which has similar themes. Sex work is being involved, but now we're following the perspective of a child, so it's even darker.
Yeah, it was really rough. But
really
I mean,
fun.
all of these movies were so good.
Yeah.
This was such a good stretch of movies. And so I guess moving into our next movies, we will be dropping not an episode recorded over a year ago. We have released all content that was recorded before our giant hiatus. But before we moved to the lives, we recorded 4 episodes that we were going to release normally, but now we're going to release them as a special. George, just go back and watch the Jack Frost episode. We've already done Jack Frost. You need to leave it.
He didn't like
He just did. He wants us to redo our Jack Frost take. So we'll have over the next few weeks, we'll be releasing an extra, like a bonus episode on Tuesdays. This week we will be releasing an episode on the 2019 film Parasite. That was
Great
a fun
movie.
one. And then Thursday, this coming Thursday, we'll be going live for
Battlefield
yeah.
Earth. It's another roast. John Travolta
Battlefield
roast.
Earth. We're gonna lift it back up with another John Travolta movie.
Set that movie.
Cause someone brought up John Travolta in a chat during one of our Yap sessions, and now that's all we can talk about is John Travolta.
We're obsessed
apparently.
with him.
We're obsessed with John Travolta. Let's see what he's got going
actor.
on. Let's see if we can get him on the pod. He'll be the guest at Watching Out Loud Con.
Scientology would never let that happen.
We could say that we're interested in joining Scientology.
We're not rich enough for Scientology. What are you talking about?
Okay, guys, make us rich so that Scientology is interested in recruiting us. And we'll specifically say we need John Travolta and Tom Cruise to recruit us at Watching Out Loud Con 2029. We'll give you a couple years to make us rich.
So yeah, we have Battlefield Earth next, and then I don't know, does it hurt to, we're going to release the schedule anyways. Then we're going to do Zone of Interest on Thursday, May 14th, A Real Pain Thursday, May 21st, and then Scott Pilgrim versus the World on Thursday, May 28th. So that's our May schedule.
Yep, and I'll post that to Instagram and YouTube page this week once May hits.
Well, until then, while you were still learning how to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies.
Fucking sick. That's hard as hell. That's so sick.
It's a movie about Scientology. Just for spoilers.
I'm so excited. Weird roast persona of interest. Sorry. Yeah.
Well,
right.
As always, thanks for joining us.
Fun one. We love you. Kiss him.